record my screen, so I will share it.
Speak up.
Okay.
Is there a microphone? I can't hear you.
There's no microphone, right? You can't hear me? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the screen. So you don't have to take all the commands to Node, so it's going to be in there. So don't worry about that. Screen recording. Okay. Good afternoon, people. My name is Candan. Let's give some time to Microsoft Windows because it's the most powerful operating system on this planet. So it requires more time to complete the things. Hopefully, okay, so before Windows show up, so I'm going to ask a few questions to you guys. How many people are penetration testers here? Okay. How many people are malware analysts? Okay, great. So, how many people say, I had never used Metasploit before? Great, that's the answer that I'm expecting you guys. So, because Metasploit is really required for this one, I'm going to show the example for Metapredator because it's part of Metasploit framework. So, my name is Candan, I'm from NorthShield. We have a threat and vulnerability management platform. We are part of Mac.7 Cyber Accelerator. So, we have a promising product. Who am I? My name is Candan and CTO and co-founder of NorthShield. I have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering. I managed the networks and security for more than 5 years, and I then realized that being a defensive part is not as good as being an offensive part because offense people have bigger, higher advantage than us because attacking is easier than defending, right? Yeah, so I become penetration tester, so I'm running a pen testing more than 5 years, and we decided to found NorthShield last year, so we are running that. I have a bunch of network and penetration testing and forensic investigation certificates. This is my email, my Twitter address, and we are also running a free cybersecurity training course, which is called Free Cybersecurity Training. You can search it on Meetup. Let me quickly show that. If you guys are interested in, please sign up for that. This is our free training course. The next meetup is going to be March 8th. So we need a space for that. If you guys have a good space to hold more than 60 or 70 people, please let us know. We're going to teach threat hunting and SOC analysis in this year. Last year we teach the ethical hacking. All right, so let's go back. What we're going to talk about is we're going to create some fully undetectable metapredators. So we are going to create malwares. Yes, that's going to be malware. In this section, there's nothing defensive. There is nothing related with security. It's usually related with attacking. Let antivirus people to solve this problem. If you're a pen tester guy, if you are going to testing a local network, you're gonna need to use a metapredator. But unfortunately, a lot of malwares can easily identify the traditional metapredator. So we are going to talk about 6 tools if we have enough time. So I need to cut from somewhere if I run out of time. So the first one is MSF Venom. As you guys already know, that MSF Venom is Metasploit frameworks by built-in library to generate the metapredator. So if you type MSF Venom -h, it's gonna give you the help of what's going on here?
I'm trying to get the recording properly.
Okay, great.
What's your name, sir?
Candan.
Okay, cool. I just want to try to have the right people in the slide title.
Okay. So MSF Venom helps you to look at the encoders or create the basic malware. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a malware if I can see the screen.
Yeah, I'm working on getting this thing to function.
Okay.
Why is it? Okay, come on. Deactivate and activate. And let's see if that fixes it. It fixed it one other time when I had this problem. Oh, come on, do your thing.
I think it's coming back.
I hope it is.
Try your back.
Try that.
Try plugging.
No, actually, I wouldn't.
There's no signal.
Okay. Deactivate.
Ouch.
Activate. Maybe. Come on. Do it.
Oh, man.
Came out.
There you go.
Okay. Great.
This is a very unhappy program.
There you go.
Okay.
I think we're almost going to be ready. Yeah, we're going. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. So, here's the command that you can use, except the payload is going to be reverse TCP. I think you guys are familiar with reverse TCP, what it is. And I'm going to use my host, the command and control center, and let me quickly check my IP address. It's still the same, obviously 204. So let me change my IP to 204. I'm going to use 443 as a local port. It's going to be a format of executable, but you can use a bunch of different formats. So for example, here, it says that you can create any kind of interpreter. It doesn't have to be executable. You can create an L for Linux boxes, or maybe you can use PHP or ASP.NET, or even you can create transform formats, which are the source code of an interpreter. So, for example, you would like to create your own interpreter to embed in an application. You need a C# code for that. You can do it with MSF. As you can see here, it says C# or Java or
put those down better.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not saying it. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay. So, I think it's created my. Okay. So let's hit enter, and it's going to be, our name is going to be MSF _ reverse TCP 202 443. Actually, I prefer 204, but anyway, this time let's assume that it's okay. Oh, there you go. Everything show. Okay. It is say here, but forget about this line, it's something else. Okay. So let's copy that thing. Okay, so what is this thing doing? Let me copy this to Windows packs. Come on, man, we are having
just got that.
It's funny, it's showing here, but it's not up there. We're good.
Okay, new folder. It's going to be, let's say, these size. Okay, let me paste this one to here. So I should start of course, the handler here. So I have my Metasploit ready. So what I'm going to do is use exploit multi-handler and set the payload to the same payload Windows interpreter / verse TCP and set a host 2.52.204. Okay, we're all set, and if I hit exploit, it's going to listen. Of course, it's not going to do anything, but if I run this thing here, it's going to connect to command and control center. Here we have the interpreter session. What you need to do first is check out whether you are in the right machine. So you may have a multiple meta-parameter sessions at the same time. So we are in a Windows machine, and what you need to do is you need to get the system right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the system. So it's going to try the multiple methods, but since I'm an administrator on that machine, I can easily get the machine. So at this stage, you have the full control of that machine. So what you want to do? So for example, let's say run VNC, if it is going to work. So I want to see what's happening on that Windows machine. So, okay, this one is not supported anyways. But let's start key scan start, okay? I want to record the keyboard. And here what I'm going to do is, let's assume that I open the notepad here and assume that this displays is Facebook. And my username is Candan and my password is super secret password. Okay. So if I go back here and I say that key scan dump here, notepad, as you can see that I can restart and Facebook and Candan and the super secret password. So it's pretty powerful. You can do a lot of things with this, and actually what you need to do is dump hashes and also to dump the password. So those are the post-exploitation steps you need to take care of that. Maybe you can load the kiwi and you can do a lot of things with this. So if you type help, you will see a lot of commands exist here. So for example, one of my favorite is dump hashes. So this one is going to dump all the hashes. Or you may try to LSA dump also. It's going to dump the plain text password. So LSA dump, let's say Sam. Okay, so let me scroll up a little bit because there's a reason for that. So let's assume that this BGA user, as you can see, there is an LM and NTLM password. If the guy is already logged in the machine, you can see the plain text password. Actually, there is the plain text password on the upper side of the the screen. So meta-parameter is powerful. Let's submit this to VirusTotal. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, let's scan it. It's going to take a while, but I am going to show you something while it is being analyzed. So, the initial result is going to give you an idea. As you can see, almost all antiviruses are going to discover that this is something, a Trojan. You can use that in an enterprise network. It's going to easily be detected. So, what we need to do is we need to make it undetectable, right? So the second command is the Metasploit framework have a built-in capability to encode the session, the binary, so you can hide your malware to some extent. So let me change this to 204 and this one to 204. At this time, please note that there is another command. It says I11 and also -E x86 and Shpita Ganai. Okay, so those two things say that I want to encode this binary by using x86 Shpita Ganai encoder, and I want to do this 11 times. Okay, so it is actually encoding the binary multiple times, and here it says the x disk to vht.exe is actually a legitimate binary, by the way. It's not a malware. So I will copy this and just make sure that it's not a modified version. Here, let's say replace. What it's going to do is it's going to take the properties and also binary space of this executable, and it's going to embed a Trojan on that. It's going to be meta-parameter again, but it's going to look like this to VHT. Okay. So let's hit enter. Let's wait for the result show up. And when I look at it, it says 45/58. So that's not a good score. And a lot of malware, antiviruses can easily detect that, even Microsoft. So. Okay. So what we need to do is we are going to use our new executable to check whether it's being still detected by some antiviruses. So what was that name?
VHS.
Reverse TCP 204.443. Okay, reverse TCP 204.443. This is right.
So instead of using a custom template, you're just embedding that into a non-infected binary, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Exactly. So we wanted to our binary to look like a legitimate binary. So that's why we are using a normal Windows. Actually, it exists in system internals. How many people use the system internals before? Yeah, that's good. So that's actually an application to convert a disk image to VHD file, and we're using that as a, let's say, a decode file, or maybe a container to embed our binary. So it's going to be undetectable to some extent because it looks like a legitimate application. The antivirus usually check out the entropy of an application and also check out for the similarity of a real application. So in this case, our application is pretty similar to original application. So that's why some antiviruses get confused that, hey, this seems a legitimate application for me. It's nothing but a Metasploit again, Metapredator again. But this time, some antiviruses change their mind, and wow, Microsoft, I'm surprised. Actually, Microsoft should surprise on that. So as you can see, some of the antiviruses already failed. Symantec is an exceptional one here. It says I'm failed, but if you run that application, it's going to run an dynamic analysis or behavior analytics on that application, on that binary. So it's going to catch that. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be detected, but it means that at least you can copy this application to that machine, okay? But when you run that, you have another challenge, okay? In that case, it's a dynamic analysis. So we are good, but it's not good as we expected. So what we're going to do is, MSF Venom is the best score is half of them, okay? You can't expect more than that. What we're going to use is, we are going to use another tool which is called Whale Revision. How many people used this before? Okay, great. So Whale Revision was super perfect when it's early ages, but unfortunately, its signature database became to be detected. So it is on GitHub, so you guys can easily find that Whale-Revision, and it's built in Kali Linux as well. So you can just go through here, copy that, or you can use apt-get install Whale-Revision. So what it's doing is using some tricks to bypass firewalls. There are antiviruses. So it has a number of payloads already built in here. You can use Ruby, Python, PowerShell, C#, whatever you want. So it's easy to use, actually. That's the biggest advantage for that. Let's use some C libraries here. So what I'm going to use is the 6th one. Okay? Let's use the 6. And it's easy. Local host, local port. And let's say lhost is 172.16.204, and set help port is 443. Okay, and say info. Here we have our initial configuration. It's nothing different from our MSF Venom. Let's generate this one, asking for a name for this binary, and I'm going to use this as a wheel_reverse TCP and 204.443. So here's the problem. It's generated under this folder. We're gonna get that point, and it says don't submit samples to any online scanner, and this is what we're gonna do. So the more samples you submit to VirusTotal, the more antiviruses get trained, right? They can get more samples to identify what's wrong with this binary. They can, get better on this. But this is the nature of the, malware generation. You have to submit your sample to online scanners in order to make sure that it is being not detected. So it is under compile. It is Whale Revision something. Let's copy this one to our folder again. Oops. Paste here, and let me open another VirusTotal window and submit this one.
They do have a no distribute one that you can use.
Pardon me?
They do have a no distribute virus scan that you can use that doesn't distribute out to the antivirus vendors.
to be honest with you, I don't know. Really? You know, some of them are cheating, I think some of them are not, but if you guys know the answer, please don't hesitate to answer that. Right?
They actually talked about it, I think, at a Veil Evasion talk at besides at DEF CON, but you want to use that to stop you from shitting in your own bed for lack of
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, as you can see, the score is not as good as even the MSF Venom itself. So, in the early ages, I remember Veil Evasion you can get a grade like 5/55. So, it was great on those days, but unfortunately it's not good. But the good thing is you can use still the PowerShell. It is still working like 24 to some extent. And let's say outpost is output is this and generate. Okay, this time it's going to be available. PowerShell and 204 and 443. Okay, it's been generated. This time it's going to be under source because it's a PowerShell script. It's not an executable. So if I put this to here and submit it to virus total, this time I'm gonna get a better score. But the problem is batch file, nobody downloads batch file from an email attachment. Although executable is not also possible, but it's really uncommon to use batch file to, send it or copy to somewhere. So it's really unweird. And also it exposes your source code because in batch files, somebody can open it and take a look at that. Hey, something is going on in this batch file, so they can easily understand. But it's if it's an executable and it's a binary, then it requires some reverse engineer to take a look at that. That's not always the case. So this is somehow good, but it's not as good as we expected. So let's jump to our heavy weapons. So this time I'm going to talk about a matload. So we will share this information with you guys. So matload is actually, we created this thing for our pen testing purposes. And here's the thing. What exactly antiviruses look at to identify a binary, if it's a malware or not? What is the starting point? They look for some signatures to identify that. We can, bypass that because we can manipulate the binary. But the second one is they're going to take a look at the binary's behavior. So the biggest challenge in Metapredator is if you use the default and canvas generators, it is going to use two TCP ports to connect with the command and control center. One, to download the shellcode. Second, to communicate with the command and control center. That is the problem, because normal applications usually connect with only one channel. If it's an update, then downloads it, run it. That's all, right? But this time, Metapredator is using two channels, and antiviruses can easily understand that, hey, if you have something to do with your center, use it only one channel. Why are you using two channels? It's that typical behavior of Metapredator. So what we do is, we created that overloaded version for that. It's the C code. One of our colleagues created the script. This time, it is connecting with only one port, one TCP port, downloading the shellcode and putting in the memory and then doing the right thing. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. And we created a Python script for that to generate that. So we're not going to spend some time to take a look at all the details of that, but I'm going to use this here. So auto-matload. So let's remove, if any executable, remove *exe key. So we don't have any. The usage is pretty straightforward. Auto-matload. If you hit enter, it says that, hey, depending on your needs, tell me what you want. So I'm going to create x86 first, and it's going to be 172.16.52.204, and the port is going to be 443. It's going to generate, and it's also asking that, hey, this is your command and control center Metasploit configuration. So local port, you can just copy and paste it into Metasploit. That's going to work. Even it can start the listener for you, so you don't have to type. So you can just type yes, and it's going to create a listener for you. So I'm not going to start the listener now, but I would like to submit this finding to VirusTotal as well. Oh, yes, here. Let's copy this and paste it here. And open another VirusTotal window. And while it's analyzing, let's generate a 64-bit also, because in current time we are usually using a 64-bit of operating system, and you can see the difference between 32-bit and 64-bit binaries as well. So here we have the 64-bit. Let me copy this one as well and submit it to VirusTotal. Okay, let's look at these 32-bit. Not bad, huh? At least we already eliminated some of the big dogs like AVG, like LKBAS, like Bitdefender, Commodore, Clam AV, then open source, Kaspersky, of course Microsoft. So let's look at the 64-bit. Did you see the difference?
Oh, wow.
Wow. Actually, that is the biggest challenge on antiviruses now. 64-bit has a double size of address space, so you have double flexibility to escape the signatures, right? Because assume that you would like to generate all the virus signatures with 32 bits. So the combination is going to be, let's say, X amount of data, right? But if it is in 64-bit, then you are multiplying with 2. So, and also you have a 2 to the power 64-bit options, right? That's a big space. So you can manipulate your memory to create more undetectable malwares. So let's copy this thing to one of our machines. So actually 32-bit, I have a 32-bit machine here. So here I have a machine with pretty up-to-date Avira antivirus and also Microsoft Defender and Clam AV. So we have 3 different antiviruses here. I can easily copy that. I can easily download that because Chrome is also not detecting the, it can be downloadable from the internet. So it has a script here. Let's copy this thing so I don't have to waste my time on this. Let's exit this one. Okay, and paste. Okay, so handler started, it's listening. So let me start this thing. It's ran and let's see. Sending the stage and connecting. Let's take a look at that. Our binary here. So it's I think crashed. I don't know why, but it's not detected by malwares, but antiviruses. But I don't know what happened. Oh, okay. So here's the problem. Here is the problem. I'm actually crashing there. I'm actually crashing the binary because I'm trying to send the 64-bit encoded stager. So let's see this time. It's not going to work. I still have a chance to use other one. Okay, anyway, I have some problems here, but I don't want to waste time because I want to show another thing to you guys. So that's going to be the last thing. The other one is this shelter. So if you guys heard shelter before, it is using the normal binary. So I will use a decoy binary here. It's a div2 VHD. So this time, this is going to analyze my binary and create a copy of this by embedding the Metaperator payload. So if you are using Kali Linux, just type shelter. It's gonna open you an Windows emulation environment, which is running on Wine. So you can choose an automated payload generation. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Why is it not coming? Yeah. Okay, so if you are reverse engineer, so how many people are interested in reverse engineering here? Few. Okay, great. So if you wanted to create your binary by yourself, you can choose the manual mode. But if you're the beginner, let's choose the automated. So automated is going to ask you that what kind of the executable you want me to use to generate this malware. So I'm going to say this to VHD. It's backing up my binary, and it's going to analyze the binary. It's going to actually run this binary on Vine environment, look at the instruction sets, and it's going to decide to meta-operator payload depending on the binary's infrastructure. So here's the thing. Let's say in my meta-operator, I need a bunch of commands like jump to ESP and copy ESP to EVP, things like that. Let's assume that I need a bunch of commands required. So what Shelter is doing that, analyzing the binary, finding the piece of codes, and using those codes or the instructions already embedded in the binary, use that as the meta-operator stage encoder, the stage creation. So that becomes a lot more undetected because the meta-operator shellcode is actually a part of binaries itself. So it makes sense for an antivirus to look at a binary and say that, hey, that seems an absolutely legitimate application because I saw exactly the same set of binaries in this executable, so it should be legitimate because it is created by the world's most powerful and secure organization, which is Microsoft. So that has to be, that has to be secure. So it says that stealth mode enabled. Let me talk about that a little bit because stealth mode is some of the interesting property. If you enable that, your application will run just like a normal application, but it's going to run the meta-operator payload as well. Okay? But if you disable that, it's going to run itself, but it's not going to show the application's original properties. Okay? So I don't need that because I don't want to see what my application look like. Okay, so I will use the meta-operator from the list. I will use the first one. So lhost is going to be 172.56.52.204, and the code is 443. It's going to generate, and if you submit it to VirusTotal, so it's been created, the original binary is actually modified. So let me copy and submit it to VirusTotal, and let's see how it goes. So I think I'm running out of time, but I would like to show this last example as well because I spent a lot of time in projection. Okay, so it's going to be detected, but depending on an 86-bit of a binary, it's going to be a good score. So yesterday I checked that it's going to be between 5 to 10 antiviruses are going to catch, but 86, the 32-bit binaries, it's really difficult to get the full score, but this is doing a great job. So that is pretty much about I would like to talk, but before that, I will use this binary to simulate my environment here, because I want to show you something really cool. Let's exit from Amazon Split Framework for a second because that damn thing bothers me. Exploit multi-handler, set payload, Windows/interpreter/reverse_TCP, lhost Okay, let's start the listener, and as you can see, nobody is detected. Let's run this. Come on.
Sorry.
That's the most excited part. Everyone think that I'm cheating.
It should come back in a second.
Okay. So I have my interpreter session, by the way, but I'm not touching anything. So I have the interpreter session here. Let's check the system information. I'm in the right machine. Let's guess the system. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, when I look at it, I see that antivirus center, Vera, and Clem. So a bunch of antiviruses are running on this machine, but I'm still on this machine. What I'm going to do is, this is really, funny. So let's take a look at that. If there is an forensic investigator look at that, hey, this executable is connected with this IP address, what the hell is going on here? You're going to be caught, okay? But what we're going to do is, I'm going to migrate to Avira's address space. So that's going to be funny. So this process 3448 is the Avira system tray executable. Let's migrate that address space and let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, migration is completed. So let me refresh or what? Okay, yeah. My executable becomes dormant now, so I have to see that right now. Okay, let's investigate here because I think the representation is a little bit weird here. And if I look at properties and
I'm not even touching things at this point. I think you're changing resolution somehow on the fly when you're up there, maybe.
Okay.
And it's freaking things out.
Anyway, so I already done, I think, because I want to show that this thing is connecting me. But anyway, so I don't have any disk2 thing executable anymore. So no disk2 VHD available here. You can kill this executable. Actually, it doesn't exist anymore. So if you say that go to process, it doesn't exist. So although I don't know why this is, I think maybe it's coming from its cache. I don't know, but that executable doesn't exist, but this thing is communicating with my command and control center, which is my interpreter anymore. So we see that even antiviruses can become malware. So that's the end of my presentation. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me.
As we ran over, you catch him in the hallway, I guess.
I don't know.